Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Dr. Nilima Singh, an OBG specialist, and I'm thrilled to share the space with you today for our workshop from bump to baby. What all a couple should know. This session is a part of Hera's pregnancy journey program, and whether you are in your first trimester or approaching your due date, this is a place where all your questions, concerns, and experiences are valued. Pregnancy transforms us in profound ways, physically, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. It's a time of wonder and challenge, often simultaneously, and having accurate information will only help you move through this transition with greater confidence and smooth. So, in our workshop today, we will cover what happens during a conception, after conception, then as you're pregnant, then the first signs of pregnancy, the first antenatal visit, what are all the things that will be done, the antenatal care, month by month, week by week, importance of nutrition, sleep, exercise, and rest. This isn't about dictating the perfect pregnancy because there is nothing like perfect. Every pregnancy is precious, every pregnancy is perfect. And so things cannot be generalized though. But I will try to share whatever information as a practitioner for more than 3 decades I can give you and help you carry on this pregnancy smoothly, and you can raise your doubts and raise questions in the and you could name them, and I will be there to answer all your concerns. And this journey that is uh, begins with a single cell, and then it transforms, and at the end of 9 months, or rather exactly 10 months, there is a baby who's 3.5 kg. And have you seen anything so wonderful before? Wherein in 9 months there is so much of organized growth. The every organ that will function during adulthood develops. Everything happens. So there'll be huge changes in the mother and the baby. And this is what we are going to go through each step and each part, so that you are crystal clear when you take a crystal. So all this doesn't dictate about a perfect pregnancy because perfection doesn't exist. Each one is an individual pregnancy, a precious pregnancy, and a perfect pregnancy for themselves. So instead of just generalizing on the concept, I would want you to interpret your unique experience through a lens of medical guidance and understanding that I am going to share with you. So that this journey gets very smooth and organized for you and for the day. From bump to baby, whatever every couple should know. So let us, it's a very exciting journey, starting from a microscopic life to a macroscopic where the baby grows to 3 to 3.5 kg, and it's a very organized growth. And let's take up this journey with our workshop goals. The main goal is the understanding pregnancy from conception to delivery. If you have a better understanding, it is very easy and the journey will be smooth for both the mother and for the couple, I would say, and the baby. And know how to support each other throughout the journey, that is the couple, and identify what's normal and what is not normal. Make informed lifestyle, nutrition, and medical choices. Be ready for the birth and the most exciting part, the newborn care. The journey begins when a woman misses her period. So, at that time, there is fear, there is excitement, and there are mixed feelings. So fear that it may be just a missed period and it may not be pregnancy when you're expecting one. When you're not expecting, it may be an unexpected. So, there are mixed emotions there. So at that time, what are the things you should do when you are totally confused about it? So it is often the first sign of pregnancy. It can lead to a whole lot of emotions, but stress, hormonal changes, or medical issues can also delay periods. So there are certain medical problems also, like hypothyroidism, and that is the hormone changes, and there are many other hormone changes which can also mimic a pregnancy. That is, there can be amenorrhea. So first thing is to confirm whether one is pregnant or not pregnant. This is more safely done by the urine pregnancy test known as the UPT. Over the counter, you get this UPT testing kits, and the most important aspect of it is how to use this UPT. So, first of all, when to take the urine. Do not do it in the afternoon or the night. You may get a false negative. So, the first morning urine, that is when in the whole night it collects in the bladder, and then all the material that is required for the testing is there. So, the first morning urine is going to reflect the correct position, and follow the kit instructions exactly as it is written. If it is written 2 drops, please add 2 drops in the well. If it is 3, 3. Because each kit specifications are different, and that's why one should read the instructions exactly what is there and follow that. Wait for result as per pack timeline. Now every pack will have a different timeline, and a faint line can still be positive. You have to repeat the test. Now what will be the interpretation? Either there will be 2 lines. One is the control, which will always be, there will be a pink line there. But if the test line also is pink, there is a line there at P, then the pregnancy is confirmed. But it may be that there may be a faint line. Now, what does the faint line mean? It may be a very early pregnancy when the hormone level is low, or maybe there are other issues. So, the best is to repeat this UPT after 5 to 6 days. And once you repeat, then it will be either positive or it will be negative. And then you can go to your doctor and see. So, now you are pregnant. Congratulations. But what is happening inside? How did this come positive? What are these 2 lines? You must be wondering. That means there was one ovum that was released 14 days ago if you have just missed a period. So, either 2 weeks back there was an ovum release and there was a sperm, and sperm has fertilized the egg, and mostly this happens in the fallopian tube. The tubes are the 2 tubes, there's a uterus here and the 2 tubes are connecting to it. So the ovum travels from the ovary into the tube and it fertilizes there. But implantation is not in the tube. If it happens in the tube, it's abnormal. So this ovum, this fertilized zygote will come into the uterine cavity and get implanted or embedded in the endometrial cavity. And that is where it is going to, the future baby is going to grow. So within 4 weeks, and it's so wonderful that this divides, there'll be first 4 cells, then 8 cells, a morula will form, a blastocyst will form, then there'll be a yolk sac which is nourishing this little embryo, and within 4 to 5 weeks, the heart will start beating. And this, that is when life starts. Coming to the first signs of pregnancy, now that you have confirmed a pregnancy, you know how this has happened. So what should all happen? You must be wondering. So not only missed period, there will be a certain most of the women experience nausea, and some of the people do have lot of vomitings, and this morning sickness is profound, and there will be fatigue, and that is why, like it is shown in our movies, the woman will faint. So this initial drop of blood pressure, will cause, and also the fatigue will look like a dizziness. And there will be mood swings because there are huge hormonal changes in the body. Then in the breast, because that is the next organ that is going to change along with the uterus, because this has to nourish the baby. So that is why there will be breast growth, which will cause tenderness, and everywhere there is pigmentation. In the abdomen, there will be one line running from the umbilicus lower down, straight in the midline, and many women have come to my practice saying that, Madam, I've developed a black line. So nothing to worry, that is known as linea nigra. And this is normal. All this is due to the progesterone hormone, and this hormone will lead to pigmentation everywhere. Some women do have a butterfly pigmentation on their face, but all these are going to disappear once the baby is born. So no worries, no creams are required, only reassurance that this is normal. These are some of the few signs that there is a alteration in the body. And see a doctor if you have severe pain or bleeding, even faint bleeding. I would say, even if there is just a streak of blood, but you should go and see a doctor. And I would advise that every woman, after missing the period and confirming the UPT, take that strip, preserve it on the backside, write the date on which it had become positive. Because sometimes when there are irregular periods, then we do the dating of the pregnancy based on the first diagnosis or the UPT becoming positive. So, or if, say, suppose everything was good when it started, the UPT was positive, you were having nausea and vomiting, and later something you feel that everything has disappeared suddenly. So it may be a missed period, or it may be something else. So you have to go and see the doctor. Also, one more thing when you have to see a doctor is, whenever there are hormones given or tablets given to prescribed to get a pregnancy, that time immediately you have to see, because it may be a pregnancy, though all pregnancies do happen in the fallopian tube. Now this may have got implanted there, and that is a very life endangering thing. So that's why I am trying to forewarn you that if there is a pain, or if you feel anything abnormal, that there is some bleeding there and you have a crampy pain, or this pregnancy has come after taking some ovulation induction agents, better to go and check once. First, the first antenatal visit. Anything first is so beautiful, isn't it? So I would ask you the question, why do you want it early? You should be asking me, why do you want it early? Earlier is better. We come to know, as I was talking to you, it may be a tubal pregnancy. It may be pregnancy in an abnormal position. And now that can be life endangering, because tube is not designed to hold a pregnancy. So as the baby is growing, the tube can open, it can burst, and the lady can go into a shock. And that is endangering the life. So that is why it is better to go and have a checkup. The first checkup should be earliest. You come to know that you're pregnant. And also, the baseline test can be done. At this time, not many of the changes have happened. The cardiovascular system is going to change. The cardiac output is going to change. The heart rate is going to change. As we walk on, we'll see what sort of changes we have. And with those changes in hand, you don't know what was your basic. So that time when you want to compare, you should know what is the baseline. So, or I should know what is the baseline. So that is why it is better that one goes for an early checkup. And then you're going to get guidance on lifestyle, supplements, and various other aspects as to how much to sleep, how to sleep, which position to lie down, how much rest is required, how much to eat, what to eat, etc. etc. Because a mother, when she becomes pregnant, will have dozens and dozens of doubts. And I fully understand that all should be clarified. So let's move on. Coming to the care month by month. Now, first visit, as we thought, It should be as early as the UPT comes positive and you think that you're pregnant. So better to go and see the doctor as it, the specialist. Then every monthly there should be, then all the baseline parameters will be seen and whatever is required, all the tests will be done. The body is being assessed and after that the treatment is initiated. There's not much of a treatment, but then some supplements will be prescribed. Or if one has nausea, vomiting, then something has to be done because the woman should feel as comfortable as possible during the whole journey. So till 6 months, it is a monthly checkup. Then after that, it becomes fortnightly till 32 weeks. And after 32 weeks, and after 34 or 36 weeks, it becomes only weekly checkups because every week now there is so much of change, so much of growth, and the mother has to cope up. So, if at all there is a problem, it is going to be between the 7th to the 9th month. So, that is when one is seen more frequently by the doctors. So, these 4 visits are mandatory, but if you can go in this schedule, that is first visit as early as possible, then go monthly till 26 weeks, then till 32 weeks fortnightly, after that weekly, then that would be the best ideal and ideal antenatal care. But if you cannot, you are in a remote area and you are getting checkups by a nurse, then you can go for at least this mandatory checkups. Now the question comes, what is this regular antenatal visits? For some people, it's a nightmare that I have to see the doctor, I have to see the doctor. I can fully understand. It's not such a happy thing to go to a hospital. But then you should realize that this is a physiological event and this is a pregnancy. Yet there are so many changes more than any disease. So the doctor expects that if you come early, you come regularly, one can detect complications. And even I would say I could predict complications if I can see you regularly. So that is why if you want a smooth journey, smooth sailing, and a very happy journey, you want to be comfortable, then you must share all your concerns with the doctor, whatever you are feeling. Do not feel shy to say anything or feel that this is silly, that is silly. No, there's nothing silly. Every journey is unique, and every woman needs to be addressed in a different way. So, and doctors are trained, obstetricians are trained that way. So, please go and talk to the doctor, tell your concerns, and get your counseling and treatment. Then the next question is, okay, the mother is being cared, but what about the baby? Baby is inside. Here we cannot see the baby's growth, whether the baby's face is frowning, whether the baby is laughing, crying, anything. We don't know. We've not seen anything. So here comes the doctor's role, in which the doctor will put the hands, palpate, will auscultate, will try to hear the baby's sounds, and will try to measure so that we come to know how is the baby growing. Then we do some tests also, which are all non-invasive. Do not fear. So that is why regular antenatal care is most important to, to do the physical checkup, to physically see the mother and the growth of the baby, and to address the various emotional aspects. And then the most importantly it is to prepare for the birth and the postpartum plan. To come into the vital aspect of pregnancy, how is this single cell dividing, and dividing, and it's becoming 3 kgs baby, and there is so much organized growth. After you are developed and you just have to live when you are an adult, why are we not thinking, "Arey, I have to take protein, I'm taking less protein. I should take carbohydrate. I should do this. I should do that." No, what about this little one who is growing from a single cell to multicellular? Just close your eyes for a moment and imagine that there is somebody growing inside you. So, don't you think the nutrition is very important? And that is why both the parents should know that what is good for them, what is good for the baby, because this baby is the product who's going to live a lifetime living out of you. So that is why you have to be very, very careful. And so I would stress upon that you have to take protein. Even though you have many women come to us and say, Madam, I'm having too much of vomitings. I'm not able to eat anything. Just prescribe me some juices. I will drink the juice. Do you think the juice will have protein? No. So you have to eat some food. Even if you vomit, it is only half of your food that you can vomit. The completely stomach is not going to empty. And that food is going to travel down and that will be absorbed and that will be given to the baby. So what are the important things that we need? We need carbs, we need protein, we need some fats. And most importantly for the growth, we need the micronutrients, iron which comes from green leafy vegetables. And very importantly, after food, take a piece of jaggery. And for non-vegetarians, the liver and lentils for all. Then folate. So for the folate, you have to take a lot of greens. Folate, foliage. It comes from foliage. Foliage means green leaves. So that is why what are all the green leaves that we have in India? You will have palak, spinach, then you have the gongura, totakura, bachali kura. So all these akukuralu, that is hari sabzi, one has to eat. Then a certain amount of folate is also there in the citrus fruits like orange, like sweet lime, pineapple. So all these can be consumed. Then calcium comes from milk and dairy products. So curd is a very good source. Then ragi is the millet which is very rich in calcium. And nowadays many people are consuming that at 11 o'clock in the day. They are having ragi java because the milk they are saying that it has antibiotics, it has this, that. So okay, it's safe to take ragi. Then one very important component that we use in our diet is sesame or nuvuli or til. So this can be used easily and 2 spoons of sesame will give you a lot of calcium. So that is why that should be taken. Then the nuts are very important aspect of the Indian diet which is missing. Many people have stopped taking nuts, especially in South India. It is omitted in the diet. So nuts should be included, whole grains, and definitely iodized salt should be taken. These are the forgotten elements in the diet which should be taken by a pregnant lady. So now I think this is where comes the husband's role. As the woman is eating, she is so overwhelmed with the nausea that you have to remind her often that okay, today's quota of curd is not done, sesame is not done, you have not taken your green leafy vegetable, you have not taken one egg with the food. So that is how you should work together in fueling this 2 lives. You have to eat smart. Some people say, iddarki tinallu. Ante what? So that means one has to eat for 2 people. No, there's nothing like that. You don't have to increase carbs, calories, sugars. Some people say, okay, eat one sweet in the morning, in the afternoon, in the night. These are refined carbs. Please do not indulge in all that. But take a healthy, balanced diet. And avoid junk food, especially these burgers, colas, which have high sugar, and processed snacks should not be used. And most importantly, when we talk of nutrition, we tend to forget water. So at least 2 to 3 liters of water have to be taken every day. So that is why whenever you come after 2-3 hours, take 1 glass of water. So one has to be very well hydrated during pregnancy because again, you have to remind yourself, I am fueling one more life inside me. I am nurturing another life inside me. And I have to do that honestly. So now that we have spoken all about what to eat, when to eat, why to eat. Now let us come to what, when and why of the supplements. The biggest question in your mind is, why supplements when you have told us this comes from that and that's why we have to take that. So I'll be eating the egg, I'll be eating the curd, I'm eating the rice, I'm eating the dal, I'm taking the lentil, green leafy vegetables. But what we see in the mothers is not every day, not every meal they balance it. So we do not want to take any chances. So even from the government of India, there's strict orders that one tablet of IFA, we call it the prophylactic dose of one tablet from 14 weeks. Why do we come to 14 weeks? Is because before that there is hyperemesis and that is vomitings, and we don't want to increase that. So that is why from 14 weeks to 6 months postpartum, many a times I have seen mothers who have stopped immediately after delivery, and we doctors also forget to remind you. So remember the fact that this has to be taken from the 14th week to 6 months after the delivery or postpartum. Now, when to take this? Immediately after lunch, take the iron tablet and with the citrus fruit. Either it can be one gooseberry or amla or one guava. It's a very rich source of vitamin C. So one can take guava. And nowadays they are saying guava has protein also. So it is all the way better. Many women will say that their nanama told them, mama told them that the baby will develop phlegm and cough. No, there is no such evidence. Nothing is going to happen. Please eat that saintly guava and don't blame it. So for better absorption, you have to take with amla, guava. If nothing works for you, at least squeeze lemon juice, lemon into water and take half a cup with it so that that metallic taste of the iron will not be there. But you have to avoid taking with the milk or calcium because that is going to precipitate this and this will not be absorbed in the intestines. So that is why one has to avoid taking with milk or calcium tablets. So calcium tablets, 2 tablets daily from 14 weeks, and you have to have a 2 hours gap between iron and calcium. So better it could be more safe if you can take the calcium in the evening. And then one more important thing with calcium is you cannot, you should avoid taking tea or coffee with it with calcium 2 hours before or after. So when you're taking calcium, say suppose I've seen many of my patients saying that in the evening tea I'm taking the calcium. No, you should not take. After 2 hours you take. Even it may be after dinner. And so similarly in the morning also, avoid with the tea. And why nowadays we are giving 2 tablets is this also has been shown to not only to improve the nutrition of the baby, but also is going to prevent hypertension. So this is an added advantage of using calcium. The most neglected aspect of antenatal care that one never talks about is the rest, sleep and safe habits. And I think the sleep and the rest only make the healthy baby. So it is mandatory that a pregnant woman sleeps 8 hours in the night and 1 to 2 hours in the daytime. So this should be done in the left lateral position because that is the best blood flow to the uterus and the baby. And you have to sleep in a well aerated, nice room so that there's plenty of oxygen. So avoid is very important these days. That is, you have to avoid alcohol, smoking, both active and passive. It may be that one is not smoking, but the partner or somebody in the house will be smoking. And this is definitely going to affect the baby's health. And one important thing that is affecting is excessive caffeine. As they're more working women and more of times when they're not able, they're trying to, ward off the sleep. And that is when excessive caffeine consumption is happening. So no, not, I would say not much of tea or coffee, maybe 1 cup a day. And about intimacy, yes, it is safe during most of the pregnancy, but kindly avoid 6 weeks after conception and 6 weeks before delivery. So if you keep the 6-week rule, it works very well. It's really very important to keep moving. As the yesteryear people would say that, oh, for me, pregnancy was so smooth and I delivered so well. And we think, you may think that they are just boasting. No, that is because they were doing lot of household work in which they were squatting on the ground and putting the legs in the butterfly position, which helps really to for the levator ani muscles, which are very important for the delivery of the baby. So the pelvic floor exercises, which are done like butterfly pose and all. They used to do it while washing clothes, while washing the vessels. But nowadays, one can do all this yoga and exercises, and many hospitals are even offering antenatal exercises called as Lamazi, which is which are those specific exercises which are made to be done on the mat, on the ball, and these butterfly exercises very important part of it. And if you can't do anything, walking would be the best. So walking 30 minutes a day is the best exercise at any stage of life. If you can additionally do all these, it's very good. And deep breathing, as you know, is very important because the baby is deep inside and needs oxygen. So how should you saturate your blood with oxygen? So one has to do deep breathing and very well done with the pranayam. So, and also important is stretching because there will be back pain because of certain hormonal changes. The pelvic girdle is going to loosen up. So when the pelvic girdle will loosen, there will be more flexibility in the joint, and that is when sometimes there will be sacroiliac pain. So the stretching exercises are going to help in relieving these pains. There is no need to take medications. Exercise can alleviate all this pain, and it can be a very, very happy journey. Coming to the fact that staying active in pregnancy is very important. Yes, because as I said, exercise is going to help reduce the back pain, that is the sacroiliac joint strain, the bloating because of indigestion. Again, there will be delayed gastric empty due to the hormones, that is the progesterone. And this can lead to bloating, which can be which subsides with exercise. And definitely when you exercise well, the body will rest well, and so the sleep will be improved. Definitely when sleep is good, mood will be good, and blood circulation is good. So you are literally preparing yourself for the labor. Labor is really hard labor, so one has to prepare before that so that it becomes a very happy labor. And it will lower the risks of complications or medical disorders developing like gestational diabetes and high blood pressure. So important in today's times when GDM is rising, we know, and the high blood pressures are also quite common these days. So that is why exercise is going to negate on this. So a walking of 30 minutes can do away with all these problems. Now, most importantly, who should support you? The person who should support is the partner, who is partner to everything. So, because the mother and father both are equally important, and so you cannot exercise. So, but you can do it with her so that she is encouraged. You give her company and do these exercises, especially the breathing exercises. The yoga can be done together. Help set up a calm space for yoga or stretching. Be attentive to signs of fatigue and offer to take over the chores. This is very important. In the house, there will be so many things that the woman is doing. At this time, she may feel difficult to do. This is when the partner's role comes in. And because many a times it is thought that it is woman's role, and many times they are discouraged from even doing something. Or you go out of this room because she is pregnant. No, that is not the way. You have to hold the hands, you have to exercise together, you have to find new places, you have to find a nice garden where you could go for a walk. And this is how you are going to develop the early parenting there. And with this, if your support is there, definitely it is going to be a very happy journey. Now, the final talk is on hygiene and body care. So let us talk about what should be done. As we know, hygiene is very important because if you don't take care of your teeth, your body parts, and your breast, then all the complications are going to happen. So bathing regularly and changing the undergarments is very important. There are many a times when people are traveling, and when they are traveling, they are using the same underclothing. So please be careful. During pregnancy, one should not enter into infection. And the breast care is very important, because when you're having bath, just see if the breast is normal and it is not inverted nipples, because this is where you can be offered a treatment by slowly massaging the breast from above downwards and pulling out the nipple. You can do away with the inverted nipple, which would be an unpleasant surprise once the baby is born. Many times I have seen that we do tend to not see it, and the mothers never complain, and the baby, when the baby comes out, the baby cannot suckle. The breast is full of milk, the milk is not let down, so there are engorgement, fever, and other issues, and the baby does not get the nutrition which is required at that time. So, inverted nipples can be treated, which is a very important thing. And nowadays, very important is one gets the breast, for the monthly palpation, if you are doing it, please continue even during pregnancy. Unnecessarily, if there is a lump and you ignore, it can be dangerous also. Then, if at all there is a discharge, one can use sanitary pads. I know it's very cumbersome. Normally, there will be no discharge. Only at the time of labor or abortion, there will be a preceding discharge. And so, as I told you, the hygiene is very important. That is changing the undergarments, cleaning properly, and wiping properly. Many a times, everything is damp, and then in the hurry, it is left damp, and the clothes are not changed and worn again, and this may lead to a fungal infection, which is quite common during pregnancy. And overarching the whole pregnancy is the male partner's role, because it's very crucial, vital, and important that both the parents should be equally involved. And I would say one should be 100 or 200% involved in the wife's pregnancy or partner's pregnancy. So, as a part of the medical support, so whenever the lady comes from checkup, and if the husband is not there, then it is very difficult to explain things. Some of the things are, she may get scared. And that is when, if you are there along with her, the husband can support. So that is why at every checkup and all throughout, one is a very good, important emotional support in a good husband. And then all the household support also is very important. Nowadays, there are nuclear families, only the husband and the wife are living, and that is why nobody else can support except the husband, who should be doing it very effectively and positively. Then, for the lifestyle changes also that we are offering, husband, if he is supportive, everything can happen. That is the healthy eating, exercising. If you are saying that you eat a healthy plate and the husband is eating a burger or a pizza, which is very much liked by this girl, now that is not going to carry on further, no? So she will also be tempted to eat. So that is why both of you should eat healthy, both of you should live healthy, exercise well, and it is very good for your health too, apart from being supportive to your wife and the child who is coming. A very important aspect of the antenatal journey is planning for the birth and getting prepared, because preparedness is the half the effort of the labor is completed there if one is well prepared. As is said always, a better prepared person is much better to handle any situation than not being prepared. So, what are the things and aspects of preparedness? One is prepare yourself that there will be some pain and I am going to go through it smoothly and happily. So, for that, you have to choose where you will be comfortable. So, you will want a particular hospital. So, go and visit, go and see the labor suite or labor room, and go and see where you are going to, so that apprehension is not there. Many a times I have seen in my patients that They come to the labor room, and then the birthing process comes to a halt. All the hormones are taken a back seat, and the stress hormones are rising, and that is leading to a cessation of labor pains. So that is why get acquainted with the hospital and go and see the birthplace and discuss it with the midwife or the nurse who's available in the ward. Then you have to also discuss the delivery options. We have an open mind that yes, I'm going to have a natural birth, and for that I'm going to do these exercises, and I'm going to bear with this much of pain, because either ways there will be pain, whether it is vaginal versus cesarean, because cesarean will be mostly the stitches will pain later on. In the normal natural birthing, the initial labor pains will be there. But if you take it that, okay, my baby is also trying to, go through this pain and is going to come to this world, I'm going to see his or her face. So, for the first time in my life, if you're excited, I don't think you'll feel that pain also. So, also a very important aspect is you have to pack your hospital bags by 8th month, because delivery can happen anytime. If you are going to do a foreign destination for a month, so or a week, then don't you pack your bags 2 months ago? Similarly, you have to pack your bags here, because at the last moment you cannot have confusion that you want to go, you want to take this, you want to take that. So please organize your bag, in which there should be a clean towels, and for the baby and for you. And there should be, nowadays they give a baby kit, but still on your side you should be having all this, and clean baby clothes should be there, and a small baby blanket. All these are part of your bag. Then what is important is, when should I go? When do I go to the hospital? Okay. So whenever you feel, what are all the things when you should go? So either you are feeling a back pain, don't go for any back pain. Labor pain is when there is rhythmic contraction. So you will feel one feels a rhythmic pain starting from the back, radiating to the thighs and the abdomen in front. It just comes like a girdle, then passes off. For some time, the woman is painless, she's comfortable. Then it occurs again another 15 minutes. Then later it will become every 5 minutes. Then it will be more frequent. So, like that, the frequency will be more and amplitude will be higher. Slowly, they start getting more and more painful. So, or there is the show. We call it show because it's a pinkish mucoid discharge when the nature is so great that the baby is in the most sterile environment which you cannot find on earth. There is not a single microorganism there. How does it do? So the gate of the uterus, that is the cervix, is tightly closed, and there is a mucus plug which is placed inside so that nothing can go beyond it. Now, this, when the labor pain starts, the gate is opening. As the gate is opening, this mucus is going to come out, and as the uterus is enlarging, some blood vessels are going to shear. When they stretch and shear, some blood is going to escape from the capillaries, which will come onto this mucus, and so there is a pinkish discharge. Or there is a membrane there, the amniotic membrane. It can break open. That is the membrane which is containing the fluid, the amniotic fluid, the nourishing fluid, which is again secreted by the placenta into a sac where the baby is happily swimming. The baby's growth, say suppose there was no amniotic fluid, the baby would be growing in a tight uterus. I'm sure the baby shape, size will not be able to change, and it will be like a lump of tissue. So that is why nature is so great that it has given water. And so when there is water, every limb bud develops into a limb, every finger develops, nail develops. There is beautiful development that is happening because of this water. So this water can be leaked, and so there'll be suddenly, as if you are walking and you have walked and you have just, treated a um, glass of water. So that sudden splash of water will come. That same thing can happen. So if it happens, because why I'm telling you with so much detail is many a times I've had to operate and do a cesarean section just because there is no water left. And when there is no water, I said the uterus will compress the baby and the baby can even die. So that's a very dangerous situation. So whenever this happens, there is a rhythmic increasing pain radiating from the back to the front, or there is a break of water, or there's a pinkish frothy discharge, or there is bleeding, one has to rush to the hospital. So that is why all these steps are very important. In that rush, you don't know where to go, what to take, what to do. So you are already prepared. Now half your job is done. You just have to dial that hospital, say that keep the wheelchair ready or the stretcher ready, whatever is your condition, and I'm coming, please take me in. So the hospital is well informed and there will be least complications. Now coming to the last part, what are your take home messages? So I would like to revise it with you so that you don't miss anything. I want your journey to be very happy and very smooth. So, and with a smile. So that is why what are important here? Once pregnant, register early, earliest that you could, or as you say in today's world, ASAP for antenatal care. Then follow the plan, the antenatal plan. Go there regularly and follow the nutrition and the medicine plan. Don't say that I had vomitings, I didn't eat. I had vomitings, I won't take the tablet. Because you are eating for yourself, you are eating the tablet, you're consuming the tablets for your baby. So you have to be very careful and you have to be balanced. So balance not only is about nutrition, about medication, it also covers rest and activity. So you should rest 8 hours in the night, 1 to 2 hours during the day, and in the left lateral position. On the left side only you should lie down and stress free, of course. Then if there is any problem, reach out to the healthcare team. So for that you have to plan early, you have to take their phone numbers, keep everything ready. And to the partner, support your wife for every step, and from pregnancy, from the diagnosis, from the UPT, to the medical checkups, to eating, following a proper lifestyle, and then following to the labor pains for the exercises. And then during the labor also there will be some exercises. So you have to support each other at that time, emotionally and practically. As you are part of this journey, always remember that this is not a painful journey, this is not a disease. It is physiological, it's a happy event that is going to happen to you. You are going to become 3. So you're getting a life on this planet. So celebrate each milestone. First movement, when did you feel? First fetal heart, when did you see? When did you see your little one's first fetal heart ticking? So all these are going to become very important for you to celebrate later. And it is the beginning of parenthood that you are going to share the journey till your life ends. So that is why I started not in an explosive way, but do it more rhythmically and beautifully, like a beautiful dance. And remember that your healthcare team is always available to support you for every question and every concern. So we at Hera are also your healthcare team, your providers. Any question, any time you can raise, and we are going to answer that email as soon as possible. Maybe within 24 hours or maybe earlier also, because I know how anxious a pregnant lady is. And we at Hera also say that every woman is unique, every journey is different, it is unique, it is important, it is precious, every doubt is important. Do not hesitate. You can ask us any doubts. It will further help to bring out better programs for you and to be more focused on what you need than what we want to say. Thank you.